Hey guys, new video, impressions video on Ori and the Blind Forest, a game for the Xbox One and the PC on Steam, and by Moon Studios, an independent developer. And you know, I'd seen this game. I think it was announced at an E3, like the last E3. I haven't been following it too much, but like immediately I was struck by the game's visuals. I mean, like I think everybody was. This is before I delve too deep into this game. It's an absolutely gorgeous game. It's a Metroidvania or I should say Metroidvania puzzle platformer. And you know, it doesn't do anything really original. You know, it's a kind of game you've seen before. But it's so well designed. The presentation is so top notch that it's very hard not to like the game, and I like it quite a bit. I don't love it. I'll go into that. I'll go into some reasons why I don't love the game, but I definitely like it. I think it's worth like the $20 it's going for. And for a first game, Moon Studios, I gotta say they did a fantastic job. I guess I'll talk about the story first. I don't want to say too much about it, but you play Ori, who's like a guardian spirit of some kind, and basically something bad happens, and the forest kind of you kind of have to restore the forest to its like former self. I'm purposely not saying certain elements of the story because like. I mean, the way the story is presented in this game, I mean, there's no cutscenes or anything like that. You'll get like little dialogue snippets every now and then, but you know, I like the way it's told. You know, the story is not amazing or anything. You know, it's very simple, but it's effective with the way the game handles it. And again, I'm being very brief here because I don't want to spoil certain aspects to the story because it can be kind of emotional at times, especially the beginning of the game, I think. But yeah, visuals, yeah, if you're noticing the gameplay I'm putting up here, yeah, just my voice for this impressions video, but this game is absolutely, like, it looks phenomenal. The art is absolutely amazing. The animations are extremely fluid and flashy. There's a lot of there's good environment variety too. The details like in the background are absolutely amazing. Again, I like you can't really fault this game in terms of visuals. I will say the frame rate hitches very rarely. I've heard this is a common problem with like the engine. And I think they're working on a patch for it. So I've seen some people get some frame rate stutters. And I've got a pretty powerful PC, so it's not really that too. I think like the Xbox One version has some stuttering as well. But it doesn't happen too often. It's not really all that noticeable. And, you know, it's hard to care too much about that when the game just looks so good in general. Audio-wise, the sound effects are fantastic. Music's excellent too. There's not much music, but what's there is really good and really adds to the atmosphere that this game has. Some vocal tracks that are in there, which are nice. So yeah, like presentation-wise, I can't stress enough how fantastic this game is, and definitely that's like the highlight for this game. But gameplay-wise, it's actually really good. You know, judging from the first trailer, I wasn't expecting this game to be really. I wasn't expecting the gameplay to be all that good. I think a lot of Metroidvania platformers like this, we're getting a lot of them lately, especially from independent developers. A lot of them go for like style and presentation, and I feel like they don't really have the gameplay to back it up. This game does. Like I said before, though, it's nothing too original. Basically, you start out being only able to like jump, and then you'll start to get new abilities. For instance, like some combat abilities, a wall jump, a double jump, and some other abilities. And every time you gain a new ability, they really test you with these abilities, with these really devious platforming puzzle sections where once you get a new ability, after like 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to be really good with that ability. The game's very good at teaching you how do you use your new abilities without telling you. Like the level design in this game, I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. This game is basically a puzzle platformer. There's a lot of puzzles to this game. There's also like some very like kind of twitch reflex heavy platforming sequences, but it's mostly a puzzle platformer. And I've said before in the past, I'm not big on puzzles in games, partially because I'm bad at them, and then I don't know, I just don't really have much fun doing puzzles. And I find they do kind of halt the pace like of a lot of games. But I mean, the puzzles in this game are really well designed, I think, for the most part. There's these anti-gravity puzzles like in the halfway point of the game that I thought were kind of annoying, but overall, like, the level design is really good. I don't know, I thought I was expecting more of like a traditional platformer, not really like such a puzzle heavy game. But if you're into puzzle platformers, you're just gonna love this game. So yeah, it is a Metroidvania. You'll be getting these new abilities, and you'll be able to access previous areas that you might see like an item that's hidden behind a wall, but you don't know how to reach it. And then later in the game, you'll get an ability, and you'll be like, "Oh shit! I can go back and get that that item I missed." The map is massive and very helpful. I was always referring to it. Lots of items to collect. Lots of upgrades. There's some skill trees. You've got like 3 separate skill trees to upgrade your abilities. I actually got through all of the skill trees by the end of the game, which I wasn't really expecting. In fact, I almost 100%ed the game. Unfortunately, though, and some people are going to actually probably be a bit angry at this, you can't go back to some areas. There's dungeons in this game. I think there's like 3 of them. And if you complete those dungeons and miss an item in them, you can't go back and get that item. So it's one of those games you really are going to have to use a guide if you want to get 100%. And also, if you beat the game, you can't jump back into your save. You're going to have to start a new file over. So that, I can see some people getting pissed off about that. And it's certainly, I think, a flaw with the game. I didn't mind it too much because I was never going to be going for the 100% in this game. Yeah, some people aren't going to like that. There's escape sequences in this game too, one in each dungeon, that are very trial and error. In fact, this game has a lot of trial and error sections where you're not going to know exactly what you're supposed to do, and you're going to die over and over again until you finally get things down. And again, I'm not crazy about that, but I don't know. This game is very satisfying when you finish those escape sequences. I don't know. It's just a satisfying game because it's very challenging. I guess I forgot to mention that. This game, it's tough. It will certainly it will test your skills. That's for sure. Like, I died 350 times playing this game. Looking at my my death count. And I guess I should mention like the save system with this game. There's some save points that you'll find, but they're very few and far between. You're generally going to have to use your own save points that you kind of make using like spirit power, I think it is. I forget what it's called, but you use like a certain power. You can make a save point right in front of you, and if you die right after that save point, you'll hop back right to that save point. So it's actually a neat system. Now, basically, what this means, though, is that you'll be able to use save points whenever you want, as long as you're really exploring, and it's a Metroidvania game. You're going to be exploring. Exploration is mostly what this game is about. But you'll have so much energy, even like before the halfway point, that you'll be able to make a save point wherever you want. And this is actually a godsend, because like I was saying, this game is very tough. I died countless times, and if there was a more traditional save system, I think I might get more frustrated with this game. But because I could save basically wherever I wanted, and I could get past a really particular, like a really tough section and be like, okay, I'll save right away. And save points can like heal you if you get certain abilities. So it's a cool system, which is actually probably one of the only, I don't know, it might have been done in other games before, but that's one of like the most like new things about this game. But I mean, there's not really too much to say. You know, everything this game does, other games have done it. It just does everything really well, I think. Not to say the game's, like, I mean, the game can be pretty frustrating at times, especially towards the end. I started to get a bit annoyed with it. And the game's 7 hours long. It took me 7 hours. It might take some people longer. I'd say it's anywhere between 7 and 10 hours. But yeah, if you're, like, again, I was surprised with how challenging this game was, and with how great the gameplay was overall. Like, the level design is fantastic, which I definitely wasn't expecting. So it's one of the better Metroidvania games I've played in quite a while, and I enjoyed my time with it. you know, why I say I don't love the game, I mean, this game's been getting, like, amazing reviews all over the place, and, you know, why I like the game but don't love it. I think it just boils down to the puzzles. I think there's just a bit too many puzzles for my liking. Oh, and the combat, too. I totally forgot to mention the combat. There's enemies that you'll encounter, and you basically just tap X to shoot, like, these bolts at the enemies, and that's basically the combat. It's very simplistic. But I actually didn't mind it too much. Some people might be disappointed by the combat, but I don't know. I thought it was fine. But I guess actually one thing I want to mention, there's one mechanic in this game called the bash mechanic, where if an enemy shoots a projectile at you, you can kind of press the Y button, and it will go into slow motion for a bit, and you can like shoot the projectile back at the enemies, or you can use it to kind of boost yourself up. And there's a lot of platforming sequences where you have to use the bash mechanic. And I find it's a bit unreliable because certain enemies won't use their attacks when you need them, when you need their projectiles to like boost yourself up, especially in some of the escape sequences. So that's a minor complaint I have with the game. But yeah, yeah, again, a very enjoyable game. Not sure it will make my game of the year list, you know, but definitely enjoyable, worth the $20. If this game appeals to you, definitely I'd recommend going out and getting it. Yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.